rave reviews on both the international media and social media that this is one fantastic project. But how did you conceive of this project in a record time? I'm sure this project took just about 2 years.
Yes. Well, you know, normal with me, when I set my mind to do something, I approach it with a lot of anger. Well, the whole thing about governance is about passion. It's about dedication. It's about commitment. And once you say you want to do something for your people, you go ahead and do it. And I'm praying to God that by the time I'm through on May 29, 2015, I will not have any single abandoned project behind. I'm sure you know a lot of people struggle to go back to government houses because they felt they had not completed one project or the other. Or sometimes the projects were at conceptual stages, and therefore they needed more time, maybe 10, 15 years. My own, I planned that I wanted to be there for 8 years, and therefore...
You couldn't have planned any other thing.
Of course.
Except you want to change the constitution.
But that is the problem. That's why sometimes you have a lot of conflicts in states. Because some people who did not know that, you know, governorship can only last for 8 years. Now, after 8 years, they now suddenly realize that they need 1.5 years more, and they want to do it through the new government. And then, of course, the next thing is conflict. So I planned for 8 years, and then, of course, all the projects I have, even the ones that are on ground, I still have a few more surprises for Nigerians outside that international edifice. I have a few more surprises.
Tell us about that. You tell us about this, but let's complete the story of this wonderful.
It was something. I looked at the sports industry. In fact, I think my anger started when we went for the last Olympics and we came back without a medal. I don't know whether you recall that. And I said, what can I do to change the paradigm? The narrative has to change. Nigeria cannot definitely go for another Olympics. We can't afford it to go and come back. We are yes, 1 out of every 4 black person in the world is a Nigerian, and the largest black continent in the world, or largest black country in the world. So if you have an Olympic game, for instance, and then Nigeria does not win a medal, it means the blacks have not done well. Forget the flashes you see from Jamaica and a few other places. Most of those things, those people are either US-based athletes who have been exposed to fantastic facilities to train. And so I decided that, yes, we have to go to the foundation, the basics. And that means we have to build the right facilities. We have to provide the infrastructure if we have to take sports to the next level. And if we have to get our children ready to take advantage of the next Olympics. And that's what I'm aiming at. I want to see 1 or 2 Ekaites and 1 or 2 Akpans emerge with gold medals for Nigeria in the next Olympics. And then I would have been fulfilled. And that's why we decided to embark on that project. Masterpiece, not just of the stadium, but you know, it has a training pitch. It has a nursery for production of grass, which we are going to sell grass to other stadia in Africa. And at the same time, it has its own independent power plant built with about 5 megawatts. And the drainage system is second to none. 2 seconds after the rainfall, you don't see a single drop of water. And of course, you've seen that the floodlights are the most modern in the world today. There is no stadia anywhere in the world today that can boast of such floodlights. So there's nothing like shadow. In fact, some people tried to make calls about 8 p.m. on that day. They thought it was still daytime. Honestly. So they were shocked to find that, yeah, because of the floodlights. So, and then, of course, you have lounges, about 12 of them. You know, so you have 2 VIP lounges. So you move from where you are sitting, go in, and then you have, in fact, I must tell you confidentially that don't allow anybody to hear. All the presidents and most of all the presidents and most of the dignitaries who were on the VIP or the VVIP, they had their dinner right inside there. Wow. So right inside there, and of course where they are sitting, you have 250 bulletproof seats. You know, so it's not just it's something that has taken cognizance of all international standards. And then from the other side, you may call popular side, where there is none, because everybody's a VIP, or it's totally covered. You now have like 10 other lounges where people can watch matches, their children are playing in the background, and you move in, you take a dika income, you take a fan soup, you test the delicacies of Akpabio said, and then after which you take your drink refreshed, then come back and continue. So actually we have a stadium where people can spend the whole day with their families. They don't need to go home because every comfort is there. Of course, it's an amazing.
I've also read that there is Or there are banquet halls there.
Of course,
Which
for entertainment.
will be open
for the public to use, maybe for seminars.
Is that a means of ensuring that that place is a constant use?
Well, there is also a means of, bringing about internally generated revenue for the stadium. So, yeah, and then, of course, it will enable people to do retreats there. It will bring in a lot of people who are interested in doing seminars and all that. And being a showpiece, it's important for people to boast that they actually had their seminar at Akpabio International Stadium, which is one of the best edifices ever constructed in Africa. I think it's something to write home about. It's something for you to be proud about. And even the mere fact that you're opportune to have your event in that place goes into history. Your children's children will never forget you. Your grandchildren will be proud of you that you were once at Akpabio International Edifice, the best sporting edifice in the whole of Africa.
Now that's about the hardware. How about the software to this?
I'm sure you.
I'm sure the software
you seem to do. The stadium is designed futuristically. I can tell you that, for instance, in terms of the color, the color of the stadium is manipulated by software. It depends on the team playing. So if you have Chelsea playing, and maybe you have Man U, we look at their colors, and then we divide the stadium into two through a special software.
Blue and red.
Yeah, blue and red. And then you come in, half of it is blue, and the other side is red. And then it affects the environment. All the streets are done with the same color of the teams that are playing. So if Nigeria is playing, you see green, white, green. And it's done. The software is fantastic. It's never seen before. It's never been installed in any stadium in the whole of Africa. It's an amazement. And that's the reason why we wanted to give something that will signpost the Gulf of Guinea. If you are coming in 40,000 feet from Dubai and you are passing Akpabio, you see that bulb of light. It presents itself like a small egg, and then it's all well lit. Depending on the teams playing, that is the color that you will see. It's an amazement. I actually think that this is the future. This is the future. That's the future.
And perhaps one thing that I don't know whether you already have it in plan is it's also a component of the software.
Yes.
How about having a sports academy, for example, where we continue to grow talents for these kind of facilities to be in constant use?
You can't even help it. You must have a sports academy. You know, the entire complex is not just about the stadium itself. You have badminton courts, you have lawn tennis courts, you have those ones you may call the soft side of it. And those ones do not need more than 2-3 months to construct. So that is what the entire edifice is about. A major sporting complex. It's not just about football, maybe long jump and all that. We provided the tracks of up to international standard. So you can do your triple jump, long jump, and the rest of them. Of course, the athletics also. And as I speak now, the International Athletic Federation has already given us the certificate of acceptance for the stadium. They are saying that it's the best that they've seen so far, and that it has met all its requirements. So certificate of compliance has already been given by I think IAF. I think that's what they call them. So it will come also with major swimming pools for tournaments. It will come with badminton courts, with volleyball courts, with even darts, with bats, and even shooting ranges and all that. So if you see the model, it's fantastic, and those components are going to be built over time. So I expect that in the next 1 or 2 years, the entirety of the place will be completed. So you can't even help it. It's already presenting itself as a major academy. So I will expect that in future that people can even get OND from there, and also even we may end up doing HND. And you have your degrees while you are also right there in the sporting arena.
This will become part of reality.
It's totally. It may not be a reality before I leave office,
but the template will be there.
But the template is there, because, like, I believe government is a continuum, and I built on what I met on ground, and I believe that whoever is coming after me will see what we are going to do. But I think it must become a major sporting academy in future. I want to imagine that all Nigerians will see the need to send their children there, and you can't have a major national team in future unless you do the operation catch them young. You get kids at the age of 5, 3 years. Some of them will start by picking balls like they do in Wimbledon. You go there, you see small children who pick the balls and all that. Those are the ones that become future stars. The Murrays and the rest of them. They are the ones who become future stars. And I think we must start that kind of small academy, and then inculcating the kids that athletic feeling, that spirit of sportsmanship. And then at the end of the day, I can tell you that before the age of 15, Nigeria will be exporting from that hatchery. Oh, by the way, I don't call it just a nest of champions.
Nest of champions.
I also call it a hatchery, which is going to, yes, it's going to hatch a lot of future champions. It's going to hatch future Stelinas. That's where you are going to get a lot of the men with us in future. So obviously from that hatchery, I will expect that before the age of 15, we ought to be exporting a lot of young people outside there to go and make money for this country and also make this country proud.
With all that you have said about this wonderful edifice, I know that a lot of personnel will also be required. That is the way you should also be addressing the employment or unemployment situation in that state. It
has started already. Because, for instance, if you, for you to even man the various entrances, I think they are almost 30 number. So entrances, yes, you know, so you have to train people. So we had to train almost 500 children. Even on the day we opened the stadium, they were well trained. And they said, ask me. And they are very proud. You know, they are very proud. They are the ones who will take you around because you can't even know your way. The stadium is designed in such a way that even if you have 32,000 people, you can disperse the entirety in 5 minutes. So it's not a stadium that can ever have a stampede. That's why I was shocked when I heard that one of the newspapers I used to respect a lot, what do we call it? Is it Punch?
Yeah, there was actually an editorial yesterday.
Yes, they did an editorial and said that the government should probe the stampede or something in Akpabio Stadium. There was nothing like stampede. The unique thing is that you had more people who wanted to enter into the arena.
Who wouldn't want to be?
That is the point.
The arena,
you know, they wanted to enter into the arena, and so we had to explain to them that we have set up about 7 different viewing points within the town and outside, and in Ikotikpene, in a few other places for them to go to, because it would have been impossible to accommodate up to 1 million people in one stadium. So and so they had to, you know, the police had to block them. There was no single stampede, and there was no death. But you know, Nigeria is like that. Instead of somebody to write an editorial on this beautiful masterpiece that have been presented and applaud the good work, people politicize things. A newspaper will go and actually open and write an editorial about a non-existent stampede and talk less of a non-existent death. And then we are saying, bring out the number, the people who died. Which families are they from? What are their deaths? They don't have. But they jump into rumor and actually write an editorial about it. But for me,
one thing about the editorial, because I also read it,
yes,
is the fact that they also quoted all the authorities who ought to be able to confirm that there were deaths, saying that there were no deaths. The commissioner of police in the state said, quote me, there were no deaths.
Yeah, so, but they quoted it in the editorial.
Yes.
So what was the point of the editorial? In other words, you are confirming even within the editorial that there was no death. The authorities who ought to know are saying there was.
So what is the essence?
So what is the essence of the editorial?
No, of the probe.
No, it's, in other words, mischief. But you know, we leave that because this is a political charge period. I think we should focus on the good things that are happening in our country and not to only focus on the negatives. That's why once in a while I try to interject some beautiful commissioning and give a little bit of hope to Nigerians and to my people in Akwa Ibom, say that yes, indeed, government is not only alive to its responsibilities, but that what we are seeing today in terms of insurgency and insecurity will not last forever. We must prepare our children for the future. And I think it's also good that we practice responsible journalism in a way that will also promote national unity and help to promote what is good in us. Because if we continue to showcase only what is bad and we try to twist things, I was shocked with that kind of editorial. Something that is celebrated all over the world. You know, it's difficult for CNN and other media to come in and take something that is happening in Africa. But this was celebrated all over the world. Watched in 159 countries. We had up to 44 million hits on the internet alone. And then you see, and people are using it. Go to the Facebook, you see, people are using
the stadium as DPs.
Yes, people are saying, I'm very proud to be a Nigerian. From United States, from Connecticut, from everywhere, all over the world, in Malaysia, in India, Japan. While we're in the stadium, people were sending text messages from Russia. They were watching it. Some were watching it online, and some were watching with their television studios that you know, joined the DSTV, the Super Sports, because we had many channels. Of course, we literally closed down all the television channels. It was important for the entire world to focus on Nigeria, and it's difficult for heads of governments to appreciate you know, developmental projects in another country. And we should have been proud that yes, indeed, our brother African presidents came to honor us with their presence. And I thought they should write editorial about that. That the fact that that stadium is also promoting sub-regional unity and brotherhood. And there is no way the president of Ghana will speak the way he spoke about the unity of Nigeria and Ghana, and then the brotherliness of Ghana and Nigeria, and the same with Cote d'Ivoire. It promotes unity. Even out there, Nigerians in Cote d'Ivoire will have a sense of pride and a sense of togetherness that, yes, indeed, even the president of that country also loves Nigeria. I think that is the kind of thing we should have focused on. And I think that was what it was all about. A nest of unity and a nest to produce future champions.
At least seeing all these presidents, including former President
Jerry Rawlings,
all dressed like it's sad to behold as well. But just one more on that issue. I think you said on that day that the maintenance contract
yes, because of the
a lot of people are saying that's like isn't that a little bit
too much?
Well, I don't know.
No, we signed a maintenance contract with a construction giant for 10 years.
10 years.
Julius Bergers, to maintain it so that they keep it at international level. It's not too much. Even the golf course that we have in Uyo, the 18-hole golf course, which I won an award in 2012 from Golf Week magazine of New York as the best golf course in Africa. I maintain it with the expatriates. I signed an agreement with IMG, International Management Group from London. They are the ones who maintain the Wimbledon, and they are in about 29 countries. So for us to keep it at the international level, it's good for us to also bring in these experts who have the skills. Then they can impact it on our people. Because I insist also that as you are maintaining the stadium, you are training Akwa Ibom people who will, in the next 5 to 10 years, be in a position to take over. And by the way, they will do more of supervisory role, while the Akwa Ibom people are actually the ones maintaining their own stadium. And they are the ones that will have the employment opportunities right there. But I don't ever want the standard to go down. I want to feel proud as a citizen of Nigeria to walk into that stadium any day, and the air conditioners are working, and everything is perfect. The lights are working, and there is no story at all on account of issue of maintenance.
Let me take you out of the nest of champions and the hatchery of future champions now.
Yes.
Let's get to you mentioned earlier on that you still have a lot of surprises up your sleeve.
Yes.
In the Uncommon Transformation series.
Yes.
Tell us, what else do we expect? Well, you have constructed roads, you have constructed flyovers, bridges,
yes, underground drainage systems, pipe jacking drainage systems,
and all of that. You have
the airport,
the eighth wonder of the world in form of a nest of champions.
Yes.
What else do you have up your sleeve? What else do you?
I actually think, I look at it. I'm a Christian, and in the Bible, you remember we had a king that was after God's heart. That was King David, and one day he wanted to build a house for the Lord, and the Lord said, "No, your son will do that for me." And that was later King Solomon. So when I came, I initially thought, because of the various struggles to get into power, I thought I was King David. I was coming to fight all the wars so that the next governor would do the construction. But when I started building, God accepted the facilities from my hands, and God enabled me to complete them. And so I continue to build. So I'm still building. Two of the things I want to unfold to Nigerians: between now and January next year, we will commission one of the best international hospitals in Akwa Ibom. Almost over 457 beds, and with 6 modular theaters. We intend to do kidney transplants, open heart surgeries. We have signed an agreement with a group from Rak Al Khaimah in Dubai. They are managing a very beautiful hospital there, and we want to bring in at least 157 experts into Nigeria. We want to stop this, so not totally, we want to minimize the issue of capital flights on account of medical tourism. So that hospital is ready. What delayed the opening was this issue of Ebola. And some of the countries the doctors were supposed to come from now started threatening that if they come to Nigeria to work, they will not take them back. And one of the countries was Philippines. And they actually wrote that if they come to Nigeria, they will not take them back. And I thank God that today Nigeria is Ebola-free, courtesy of the cooperation of all Nigerians and the leadership of the President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So I believe strongly that once we open that place, that will minimize capital flights to India. So that is at the time. And it's a fantastic edifice.
Is this a hospital? Okay, I think
it
rolled past just now.
Maybe they passed it. It's a fantastic, this other one is the underground pipe jacket drainage system, the first in Africa. We've completed about 3. Yeah. And because Uyo was a flat land, and so we needed to do something extraordinary to be able to address the flood problem in the place. And so that edifice is going to come on stream latest January next year. It would have been. It would have come. If you're commissioning
it in January, that means it's almost completed. Then.
Yes, it's almost completed. We have even commenced the furnishing, and we have so far we have spent over 5 billion on equipment alone. It's going to be state of the art. And I tell you something. It comes. I said 6 modular theaters. It's going to be the only hospital that we may begin to do this issue of television surgery, where which you go to London. Sometimes you tune into a studio, and then you actually see where operations are being done live for people to also take part in. That's one. Then 2, even when you are doing a kidney transplant, because the theaters are linked to more than 7, 8 other major hospitals in the world. And so experts there are taking part immediately, and they are watching you, and they are taking part, and then as the operation is going on, so that you have the benefit of contributions from skilled manpower. Yeah, that's the hospital.
Okay.
That's the hospital.
It's in what parts of the state?
It's in Uyo, on your way to Ikotikpene at the Tam Junction. If you pass one of the best flyovers that I constructed, that one that when you come in, you get confused. You don't know whether you're actually coming into Uyo or otherwise. Just and then we have one mega filling station on the left. Then you have the hospital. So I'm dualizing the road from there towards Ikotikpene. You know why? Why? Because with the new stadium, we are likely to have a lot of things that will come from many countries. So they will need different hotels. That's the second package. Okay. So we have built a 15-story 5-star hotel, which we are going to hand over to the private sector to run. Okay. And then we've signed an agreement with Hilton. And so you are going to have Uyo Hilton again by January. Okay. And then also, from where the hospital is, we are dualizing. It's part of the federal highway that goes to Aba in Abia State. And so we've commenced the dualization. And we got permission from the president, and he graciously granted permission. And of course, we also have an arrangement that in future, the federal government will refund the money to the state, because I just want to be in a hurry to finish what I have to do. And therefore, we are dualizing from that spot towards Ikotikpene, one of our major towns. And that was the first experimental local government in West Africa. And within the former presence of the prisons, we used to have a prison right in the center of the town. We relocated the prison and took it further away from the town. That spot now remained empty because right in the center of town. So there we have produced a 4-star hotel, Sheraton by 4 Point, 12 stories.
Replacing
the prison. So Sheraton by 4 Point is up. We have reached the 12th floor, and then you see the Nigerian flag right on top. So we are doing the interior now. So that will also come up in January. In fact, I'm trying to struggle to make sure that those 2 hotels simultaneously come on stream before the match with Brazil. We have a major friendly with Brazil in Uyo International Stadium on 29th of March next year. So I want to make sure that those 2 hotels come on stream before the match. So within Ikotikpene, we are renovating the old Ikotikpene Stadium almost to at least a national standard. So that if a team is staying there, that team can even do its training. Yes, they can do their training and warm-up matches right there before they come to the nest of champions. And so that also is under construction. That's another package we are going to unfold to Nigeria. And of course, we have other smaller hospitals that we are building outside this tertiary one. And so we opened the Uyo Hilton, and then Man U can stay there. Chelsea can stay in the other Sheraton hotel.
No, I hope Chelsea stay in the bigger one. Chelsea should stay in the bigger one.
I thought Man U should stay in the bigger one. But both of them are of international standard, and I think those it's almost like building a major tourist attractive point for all Nigerians. But it's a destination, not just for sports alone. It could also be used. I'm happy today that the private sector has responded positively to the efforts of the government, and they are in a very uncommon way coming into the state to assist us in the development of the state. So as I speak now, we have a lot of industries from the private sector under construction, and they also will need hotels to stay. And that's why the government had to pioneer that effort. So outside the Lomedian Hotel, where you can play golf, you now have 2 more hotels that are going to join. and then you have a tertiary specialist hospital that are joining, and of course with the sporting edifice. So to a large extent, I think that we are now complementing the road construction, the flyovers, the bridges. We've done over 34 bridges, and then of course, you know, we have free medical treatment for our pregnant women, and so we have reduced the incidences of maternal mortality. We have free education for our children from day 1 to the age of 6, to class 6. And as I speak now, we have 1.9 million children at the basic education level, because it's open to all Nigerian children who are resident in Akwa Ibom State. So to a large extent, I believe that yes, indeed, that I feel fulfilled that we have been able to do our best with the available resources.
At least the fact that you cannot find any Ekaiti as a house girl or any Akman or Okon to be a gate man.
You know, it's against the law. It's
an attestation to the fact that
it's against the law. I signed a child rights bill into law that embellishes the provisions there that that makes it compulsory for them to have basic education. And so, because in those days they were denied education as a result of servitude, today we are saying they must be in school. If you need to employ them, you can still employ them in future, but they will come to you as chefs. They will come with their Toyota Camry and with small jeeps, and then you pay them the salary that befits their educational level. So that's the idea. Their status has to change. Let them come as chefs. I don't mind, because we are fantastic, but not as cooks or our cleaners.
All right, we'll be talking a little bit of politics now, but let me read some tweets before we do that. Oba Tekena says, Gbenga, that's the breed of governor Nigeria should have. Not like, okay, I will not mention that name. Not like who only, oh, okay. Something is even interrupting it. Maybe the gods don't want me to get into trouble this morning. Not the lack of so. I won't mention that name. But it says this is the type of governors that Nigeria needs. This is a governor and not those who think fighting the president is the solution to their problem. Thanks, my governor. That's from YCT Amara Banebo. Somebody said Governor Akpabio is obviously a Man United fan. Yes, he is, and we are enemies on that.
I'll convince you.
I saw one just now. Akpabio stands out in the PDP. Perhaps he should run for the presidency. He is a sweet talker. Can probably talk a woman out of marriage. Really?
I've not tried that yet.
Olayera Oluwakayode is saying that's not my opinion. Okay, let's talk a little bit of politics now. The battle for succession is on,
yes,
and all of that. I know that just like in every of the other states we have to, Akwa Ibom has its own fair share of this crisis of succession. How are you managing it to ensure that it doesn't boil over?
Well, mine is that I already, thank you for some of the very beautiful comments from the viewers. Yes, Akpabio should run for president. No, Akpabio has no presidential ambition. I have said that time without number. I don't have any presidential ambition. And you need to know that today the president of Nigeria comes from my zone. And that's Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So the South zone will be happy if you can even support him to complete the second term in office. We'll be satisfied with that. I don't have to serve Nigeria in the capacity of president to make a difference. And that is the reason why I've opted to go to the Nigerian Senate. I've purchased my form, and I'm contesting for the Senate, so I can also contribute my quota towards laying the right foundation.
Deserve rest after 8 years of uncommon transformation.
Well, but you have got so much experience that it's important that we also know that the beginning of any success is legislation. And in Akwa Ibom said, if you look at the foundation of my success, outside the fact that we handed the state over to God, the next thing is legislation. The appropriation bill that we sign into law, which is the budget, determines the success of the administration. And we have managed to maintain a ratio of 80% capital and 20% recurrent consistently for 7 years. You cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. And so you see a situation where if you don't budget for the capital projects, you don't expect a miracle to happen. You understand? So unfortunately, as I speak now, we have still not been able to plug the loopholes of leakages at the national level. And so we must, in a way, come in and assist Mr. President so that we can plug loopholes or leakages and allow and free more money for developmental projects, so that at the end of the day, Nigeria will have something to show.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can sit down and then we just keep paying salaries and all that, and you can't blame anybody.
If the states are developing, building roads and bridges, building hospitals.
In Nigeria, is developing
from state A to state B.
Nigeria is developing.
Needs are being attacked. I doubt if there will be anything left for. There will be much problem at the center. Really.
No. The center will focus on foreign affairs and focus on security and, of course, diplomatic issues and all that. And in future also, I think we may have to decentralize even policing, so that we stop this idea of somebody coming from Sokoto to police Niger Delta and then having to jump into the water, and he has never seen that kind of water before. He doesn't know how to swim, and he has to pursue pirates on water and all that. So anyway, that's a story for a different day, because that's my personal opinion, that one day we may have to decentralize the issue of security, so that we can give the states the opportunity to also take their destinies into their own hands. So I have decided to go to the Nigerian Senate, and by virtue of the fact that my people want me there, so that I can make my contributions. And then it's not something that you say go and rest. No, you have acquired so much experience, you cannot just allow it. It's like lighting a candle. You can't put it inside the cupboard and close it. So it's important that I go there with the experience I've got. I go there and then assist the federal government and assist Mr. President, so we can have a better Nigeria.
Okay.
So in terms of the politics,
you are going to the Senate.
Yes.
Somebody else holds the ticket for now.
Yes.
You will be seeking to take the ticket from him.
No.
What are you putting in his hand?
Well,
when you take that from him?
Well, it's not. You see, nobody owns any ticket. The ticket belongs to the people. So when I say I'm going to the Senate, I speak with authority that my people are saying go to the Senate.
Governor, that
it
might be interpreted to say that you are using your executive powers.
No. Even if I was not a governor,
is he happy? Is the person you want to replace happy?
I'm sure he will be very happy with the people's decision. But let's put it this way: you are not displacing anybody. Actually, there was no intention of third term, because actually I'm lucky that my senator is on his second term. So if he wishes,
Senator,
I don't know. If he wishes to go for, another term, he has a right to vie for it, to contest. I actually think that politics should not have anything like bitterness in it. We should approach politics with a lot of smiles and all that.
Except that that's not the story we are getting. He is not even having the chance to run against you for the ticket. He's been muzzled out of the race.
No. From what I heard he has even bought a ticket. No, my state is actually different. Please, you have to treat each state in its own peculiar way. Every state has its own peculiarity. Here, I do know what I had to go through to put my senator in office. We had to campaign. We had to run around convincing people and all that. And we thank God that he did not only win the first term, he also won the second term. And I believe that if the people say I should go to the Senate, I will go to the Senate. If they say I should not go to the Senate, I will not go to the Senate. I am actually a Democrat. I won primaries from amongst 58 people. I defeated 57 people to become a state governor. And of course, remember, I was, what word do you use? A black sheep or an underdog or whatever. I don't know how you... Underdog. That's the word you use. So nobody thought about me, but I knew my capabilities, and I knew God also knew that he wanted to use me to make a difference. And so I believe that authority comes from God, and God gives it to whom he pleases. So I don't want people to insist that I must have this position, because you don't know what God has in store for you. So I have said...
How about the person who will succeed you? I know that it's only natural that at your level, at the level of a governor, you must be interested in who takes over from you. If
anybody tells you that there's any governor who is not interested in who takes over from him, that person is lying. That person is lying. But the approach differs from state to state. Like in my state, I've identified about 3 young men who have had the privilege of working with me in my executive. And thank God that 3 of them have bought forms to contest for the governorship. One of them, the first in point, is one of them, Emmanuel. He served as secretary to government, and he was an executive director in the Zenith Bank and a director in African Finance Corporation, and quite an intelligent young man, and he worked his way up. He's from Akwa Ibom State, and today he has bought form. He has resigned as secretary to government. That's one. I also have an attorney general that I call a gentleman by excellence, and one of the most brilliant lawyers that we have in the state. His name is Akpabio. He has also purchased form, and is also going out there to try his luck. I have another young man called Barisabia, which served also as my commissioner for local government and chieftaincy affairs. And he worked with me as secretary of the Traditional Rulers Council when I served many years ago in 2002, 2003 or thereabout as commissioner for local government. And so he also served under me, first as secretary of the FGPC, the Finance and General Purpose Committee, and later as a commissioner. He has also brought form. So at least those three are well known to me, and they've had the privilege. I'm encouraging them, and they've had the privilege of working with me. And I'm very glad.
Candidate among them?
You don't have to say it out, even if you had it. You just have to keep it in the wraps.
But you'll be comfortable with
any of them, or any Akwa Ibom child that the people vote for. I'll be happy to hand over, because one thing is certain: on May 29, 2015, I must hand over to somebody, and there's no guarantee that whoever you hand over to will come and continue your legacy, or will come and give you respect or otherwise. So what do? You allow the faith of the God to be controlled, or the faith of the state to be controlled by God. So I'm a firm believer that yes, I do my bit where the ovation is loudest, and when I step aside, I don't have to interfere. And so what do I say?
I said, no.
I said, let God's will be done. So let the will of God be done for my people. I go down on my knees and I say, God, bring out the best amongst them.
How then do we rationalize the relationship between you and personalities like the former SSG, Okongumana? A lot of people believe that you turned against him simply because he lost the ambition to succeed.
No, on the contrary.
And there were so many other the former deputy governor.
On the contrary, let me even say that I was so eager to have somebody from my executive, from the state executive council, work with me, represent me, that I was even the one who encouraged him at the initial instance to.
So what happened?
He's from Uyo Senatorial District, where the former governor Victor Atta comes from. And then I come from the other senatorial district, Kotikbene. And then, as I speak, Eket Senatorial District with 12 local governments, and that's the oil-producing belt of the state. They've never had an opportunity to produce a governor since the state was created. And so when the party, in its wisdom, decided that they want to zone it to Eket Senatorial District, automatically I expected that anybody from Uyo or Kotikbene will pipe down. That is exactly what happened. So I wish him well, and I don't have any. Even though the party said that the position is zoned to Eket Senatorial District, he still has the right to contest. Anybody can contest, even from my village. You have a right to contest. But the party is saying we prefer that for equity and justice, the next governor should come from Eket Senatorial District. That does not preclude anybody from contesting and trying his luck.
But he feels that the party machinery, which is being remotely controlled by you, is already being used against him. I'm sure you are aware that there is a court order. I read something a couple of days ago.
No. Please,
court order in his favor that he should be allowed to take part in the World Cup.
He doesn't need the court. He doesn't need the court to take part in the election. Even for delegates election, he bought the form. The forms were sold to him, both at the national and even at the state level. So he doesn't need the court. Anybody who wants to contest election, you don't need the court to say go and contest. Just go ahead and buy your form and contest your election. Nobody is going to stop you. This is a democracy. It doesn't matter. So the essence of saying, oh, we are zoning this, it has happened before. Even in my time, the position was zoned to 2 senatorial districts, Ikotikbene and Eket, because at that time, the incumbent governor of the state was from Uyo Senatorial District, and he was completing his 8th year. And then the party zoned the office of governor to both Ikotikbene and Eket Senatorial District. This time, I'm from Ikotikbene Senatorial District, and I'm completing my 8th year, and the party is now zoning it to where? Eket Senatorial District, the only senatorial district left to produce the governor for the sake of equity. So anybody, at that time, everybody contested. People from Uyo even contested. They were almost even more than us.
So there's a zoning policy that the PDP tries as much as possible to obey and enforce. Why is it difficult for the party to make this across board? Why does the PDP pick and choose where to enforce?
No,
like in your state now, the PDP says zoning formula should be respected.
It starts from the state.
In Rivers, they said no zoning.
No, it's not even the state. I said that's why you have to look at the peculiarity of each state. It is the state executive of the party, what they call the extended caucus of the party at the state level, that commenced this issue of zoning in my state. That decision was taken in an extraordinary meeting of the extended caucus of the state executive committee, just like we have national executive committee of our party. And then the decision was then communicated to national. And national said, well, if this is what you are doing for the sake of peace and equity, we adopt it. So if it is initiated by any state at all, I believe that national will also look at it. So you have to look at the peculiarities of states, state by state. You know, so it's not, and then also distinguish it from a PDP-controlled state, from a state that has been hijacked, that government house has been hijacked by the opposition. That you have to treat it differently, because here you have a state where the state you are mentioning, is it or what Rivers. Rivers. Yeah. Is a state that used to be PDP, but unfortunately the hierarchy carried the state and went and handed over to the opposition. So if you are going to bring out a candidate in such a state, you go for the best and somebody that knows the trick of the other side that can ensure victory. Because at the end of the day, you are struggling to get back your government house, and after that you can do your zoning. Are you going to zone something you don't have in your hand? In Akwa Ibom, the PDP has government house, so you can afford to zone it. In Rivers, you don't have government house, so where are you zoning it to? You go for a candidate that can win election for you. And that's and so we are going to look at it step by step, from Sokoto to Maiduguri to Rivers State to Akwa Ibom, and please always distinguish between a state that is controlled by the PDP and a state that is controlled by the opposition. You know, when we went to Ekiti State, we didn't care about zoning.
Yeah. We
went for the best candidate, the most popular candidate, because we did not control the government house in Ekiti State. And look at what happened. The people rose behind the popular candidate and were able to flush the person out. We'll still try to get popular candidates across even PDP states as much as we can. But the most important thing is that in non-PDP states, we must go not just for the best, but the most popular and the one that can deliver government house. It is that governor that is now going to help us to zone to the right location.
All right. As the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, I'm sure you know that the responsibility rests squarely on your shoulders to ensure that your presidential candidate succeeds.
God will enable us to succeed. And of course, you know, I want us, I'm talking about the presidency, I want to plead that we focus on issues and not on insults. Here is a president, when he won election in 2011, certain persons said they will make the government ungovernable. And Benga, you and I must agree that they have tried. So many lives have been lost, so many children have been kidnapped, and a lot of families have been displaced. Some Nigerians today have become refugees in their own country. But nobody is looking at it. You have to look at the foundation. They said we'll make the government ungovernable for him to win presidential election. And this is one country that we live in. We live in one country where we must have unity. How can we live in a country where certain sections of the country cannot aspire to certain offices? We must build a country that's united, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of ethnicity. And then we must not threaten anybody. So, for instance, I cannot come and say that if you are in charge of Focus Nigeria, AIT will never go anywhere. And we will block the signal of AIT and destroy your viewership. And then if I threaten like that, and it comes to pass, then you have to be able to worry and say, look, Gospel Akpabio said it. So that is what is happening in Nigeria today. I believe that what we are seeing is contrived insecurity. And unfortunately, people who are doing this they don't have conscience. I appeal to Nigerian youths not to be misled by our so-called leaders who are interested in destabilizing this country. And I appeal to those who are currently involved in insurgency to lay down their arms and dialogue, because even their future is at risk. They also have families. They are not sleeping well, because any child that does not want the father to sleep cannot himself sleep. That child will also be awake in order to ensure that the father is awake. So my appeal is that we should focus on the unity of this country. We should not allow politically motivated insecurity to pervade the entire country, so that we can live in harmony. Without harmony, you cannot have development.
We can go on and on and on and on. Like some of the tweets I've observed, we have a man who is passionate about everything here, from development to governance issues to politics and all of that. It's been my pleasure having him as my very special guest, this very big masquerade, the man of uncommon transformation, His Excellency, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Chief Godswill Akpabio. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you for having me.
God bless you, Mr. Governor, but please advise other governors to do same, because, sincerely speaking, your achievements to me are normal. Okay, that's the view of Junior Pips. I will be ending the program with that. Thank you, sir. I really truly appreciate your.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for investing your time with us, particularly those of you who have sent tweets in. If I didn't read your tweet, it's not because I didn't want to. I can see I'm pending again. Thank you. Let's keep the conversation going. My name is Ben Gabriel. I'll see you tomorrow. God willing.